Welcome to Science and Technology Briefing. The content of the briefing includes: world leaders are gathering at the UK's AI summit. Doom is on the agenda. AI firm to invest £11 million in research and development. India, Taiwan tourists can enter Thailand without visa for next 6 months. Cutting-edge AI raises fears about risks to humanity. Are tech and political leaders doing enough? Japan's Nikkei rebounds as bank shares rally after BOJ decision. World leaders are gathering at the UK's AI summit. Doom is on the agenda. Washington Post. The upcoming Global Artificial Intelligence Summit, hosted by British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, has highlighted diverging priorities between the UK and the US. While Sunak has focused on the doomsday scenarios of AI, warning of extreme possibilities, the White House has concentrated effort on tangible problems, releasing an executive order aimed at preventing AI from exacerbating bias, displacing workers, and undermining national security. The UK has taken a light-touch approach to regulation, and Sunak has sought to position the country as the world's third AI power. However, his warnings and focus on potential risks are seen by some as a distraction from more pressing issues and a quest for economic gain. The UK is attempting to recover clout post-Brexit and establish itself as a competitive AI development hub, with an AI market valued at over $21 billion. The summit will be held at Bletchley Park, the former home of World War II code breakers, and will be attended by global leaders, technology executives, and leading AI scientists. AI firm to invest £11 million in research and development. BBC. India, Taiwan tourists can enter Thailand without visa for next 6 months. Bloomberg. Thailand will waive visa requirements for travelers from India and Taiwan for 6 months, starting from November 10 until May 10. This is part of Thailand's efforts to boost tourist arrivals and revive its economy, which has been hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic. Thailand has already waived visa requirements for travelers from China and Kazakhstan. The country has welcomed more than 20 million foreign tourists so far this year, with hopes of reaching 28 million by the end of the year. The number of Chinese tourists is expected to reach 4 to 4.4 million in 2023. Cutting-edge AI raises fears about risks to humanity. Are tech and political leaders doing enough? Associated Press. The British government, along with leading AI researchers and companies, are raising concerns over the potential dangers of frontier AI and are calling for safeguards to protect humanity. Frontier AI refers to the latest and most powerful AI systems that are capable of pushing the boundaries of AI capabilities. The technology is seen as a risk as it is not infallible, yet people often assume that it is extremely knowledgeable. The British Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, is hosting a 2-day summit on frontier AI this week, which will be attended by officials from 28 countries, including US Vice President Kamala Harris, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, and executives from OpenAI and Google's DeepMind. The summit aims to find a consensus on the dangers of AI and to lay the groundwork for future regulations. While some argue that the focus of the summit is too narrow and that attention should be paid to the risks and safety of existing AI algorithms, others believe that the summit is a missed opportunity and that the government is setting its goals too low by avoiding the discussion of regulation. Japan's Nikkei rebounds as bank shares rally after BOJ decision. Yahoo! The Nikkei rebounded after the Bank of Japan, BOJ, added more flexibility to its yield curve control, but kept the policy in place. The announcement came just ahead of the reopening of markets for afternoon trading. Every electric car for sale in the fast-growing UK market. Bloomberg. The UK has 72 distinct electric vehicle (EV) models across 187 variants, according to Bloomberg Green's electric car ratings. The country now ranks 4th in the world for EVs, accounting for 16% of new car sales in July. The UK's proximity to global carmakers and its wealthier EV-friendly market are factors in this success. Currently, almost 2/3 of the EVs in the UK are made by European carmakers, while just 4% come from US companies and 30% are from Asian brands. Global green investment surge needs new guardrails. Bloomberg. Governments must establish ground rules to avoid counterproductive trade wars and promote investment in green technology, writes Bloomberg Opinion. The article highlights how the European Commission's investigation into state subsidies of Chinese electric cars, which have been gaining market share in Europe, could prompt retaliation against European manufacturers. The EU, US and China are capable of competing without shutting off their markets, the article argues. To prevent mutually harmful measures, governments should allow well-designed subsidies that generate broader social benefits, impose reasonable limits and penalties for transgressions, and ensure timely disclosure of what they subsidize. South Africa has a bigger problem than load shedding. Bloomberg. The collapse of South Africa's logistics network, particularly at state-owned operator Transnet, is a bigger problem for the country than its electricity crisis, according to an op-ed published in Bloomberg. The author argues that the underinvestment and mismanagement of Transnet, as well as corruption and crime, have caused the decline in the performance of ports and rail for decades. This has resulted in a rise in the number of heavy trucks registered in the country, which is detrimental to the mining sector, responsible for 7.5% of South Africa's GDP. The author notes that mining companies have experienced significant losses due to Transnet's underperformance, leading to job cuts and a drop in tax revenue. The situation at Transnet is expected to be addressed by Operation Vulindlela, a reform program commissioned by the Presidency and the National Treasury. However, the plan is likely to face opposition from those who oppose the privatization of freight rail. The author argues that fixing Transnet should be a priority for the government, as failure to do so will have long-term repercussions on the country's economy. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Six from the 6 Degrees World, your reliable source of news and analysis. Today, we have covered a range of stories that highlight the growing importance of artificial intelligence, the challenges of green investment, and the South African logistics crisis. Let's dive deeper into these topics. First, we discussed the upcoming Global Artificial Intelligence Summit in the UK. While British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is sounding the alarm on the potential doomsday scenarios of AI, the White House is focusing on more tangible problems such as bias and national security. The UK is positioning itself as a global AI power, seeking economic gain and recovering clout post-Brexit. However, some see this as a distraction from more pressing issues. It will be interesting to see how this summit shapes the future of AI regulation and development. Next, we talked about Ocula Technologies, an AI firm in Belfast that is investing £11 million in research and development. This investment will help the company expand its software development center and push the limits of innovation. With clients like the Kansas City Chiefs and Boots, Ocula Technologies is making waves in the e-commerce industry. Keep an eye out for their future developments. In other news, Thailand is waiving visa requirements for travelers from India and Taiwan for the next 6 months. This move is aimed at reviving the country's economy, which has been heavily impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Thailand has already waived visa requirements for travelers from China and Kazakhstan, and it hopes to welcome 28 million foreign tourists by the end of the year. It's a great opportunity for Indian and Taiwanese tourists to explore the beautiful landscapes and vibrant culture of Thailand. Moving on, we discussed the concerns raised by the British government and AI researchers about frontier AI and the need for safeguards to protect humanity. Frontier AI refers to the latest and most powerful AI systems that can push the boundaries of AI capabilities. While some argue that the focus should be on the risks and safety of existing AI algorithms, others believe that the government needs to set higher goals and discuss regulation. The 2-day summit on Frontier AI hosted by Prime Minister Rishi Sunak aims to find a consensus on the dangers of AI and lay the groundwork for future regulations. Shifting gears, we talked about the Bank of Japan's decision to add more flexibility to its yield curve control. This move has led to a rebound in the Nikkei, providing some relief to the markets. It will be interesting to see how this decision impacts Japan's economy in the coming months. In the realm of electric vehicles, the UK is making great strides. With 72 distinct EV models across 187 variants, the country ranks 4th in the world for EVs. The UK's proximity to global carmakers and its EV-friendly market are contributing factors to this success. However, there is still room for growth, especially in attracting more EVs from US companies. The UK's commitment to sustainable transportation is commendable, and we can expect to see even more progress in the future. Speaking of sustainability, governments must establish ground rules to avoid counterproductive trade wars and promote green technology investment. The European Commission's investigation into state subsidies of Chinese electric cars highlights the need for balanced policies that benefit all stakeholders. By allowing well-designed subsidies, imposing reasonable limits and penalties, and ensuring transparent disclosure, governments can nurture a healthy and competitive green investment landscape. Lastly, we discussed the logistics crisis in South Africa. The underinvestment and mismanagement of state-owned operator Transnet have caused a decline in the performance of ports and rail, impacting the mining sector and the country's economy as a whole. Operation Volund Leela, a reform program, aims to address these issues, but it may face opposition from those against the privatization of freight rail. Fixing Transnet should be a priority for the government to prevent long-term repercussions on the economy. That's all for today's news. Now, I turn to you, my audience. What are your thoughts on these topics? Do you have any questions or ideas to share? Let's ignite a lively discussion and explore the many dimensions of these stories. Remember, in the 6 Degrees world, your voice matters. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.